Ow. I did think that landing was going to be a little softer. Breastfeeding with migraine is its own special challenge. You've got the hormones shifting, you've got the sleep fragmentation, you've got the 2 a.m. bright lights, you've got the sensory overwhelm. Your nervous system is basically on a roller coaster. I'm 6 months postpartum right now, navigating migraine and POTS, and I wanted to tell you what's actually helping me stay stable in this season. Because I really don't want to be taking medication while I'm breastfeeding. But this is real life, so it's messy and it's unpredictable. But rest assured, there are ways that you can help support your migraine threshold again. This video is sponsored by CEFALY. Thank you so much to them for sponsoring videos like this that are supporting migraine moms. That said, all opinions are my own, and you guys know I only work with brands that I genuinely use. And honestly, right now, while breastfeeding and staying medication-free, CEFALY has been such a relevant tool to have. They're coming up right now, so you can hear about a 15% off sale that's going on. Let's get to that later. First, I want to jump into why breastfeeding is a unique time for those of us who suffer from migraine. So if you've been feeling like your migraines got weirder or more frequent after you had a baby, or even less frequent after you had a baby, you're probably not imagining it. Pregnancy, postpartum, breastfeeding, everything that comes along with that can change so many things about your migraine frequency and patterns. We already know that your hormones are shifting. That can do a lot. But what about when you're feeding around the clock? That's also little hormone fluctuations. Those sleep disruptions, screwing your circadian rhythm. When your sleep is chopped into tiny little pieces, your internal clock doesn't even know what year it is. And the crying, the sensory overload, the textures, the noises, it's a lot. It's a lot for anybody's system, but especially if you get migraine, you might have a little bit more sensitive of a system. All of these things are working against you, and it's not your fault. Your migraine threshold dropped, and that's okay. This season just demands a lot from your brain. And more importantly, what can we do about it? So let's get into 4 parts. Part 1, you've got to build like a baseline buffer. What do I mean by that? I mean it's how much your body can take before you spill over into it becoming a migraine attack. A lot of people call this your trigger threshold. I'm a biochemist, so I like to call it a buffer. One of the things that helps most with chronic migraine is building up that buffer so that you can be more resilient when your body attempts to have an attack. Like I said, when you're breastfeeding, that buffer shrinks naturally, so what are some ways that we can build it back up? Lots of electrolytes and hydration. Absolutely crucial. I can't get into what electrolytes means right now, electrolytes and minerals, but I have other resources about that. Please do dig. You can also support your migraine buffer by having a few minutes of quiet, like low sensory quiet time after each time that you do a feed. Tying it to feeds reminds you to do it and also helps you come down from the sensory, the sensory input of having your you-know-what's twiddled. It's not a lot, but it can add up, and especially if your baby goes down after that, give yourself 5 or 10 minutes to just come back to baseline. You'll see doing that a little bit over time, the consistency of it really settles your baseline nervous system. To your nervous system, even 5 to 10 minutes counts. It signals to your body that everything is safe. And it also helps to do tiny daily check-ins, like just think, just reflect. How was my sleep last night? Do I need to support my sleep better tonight? Check in with your body. Am I feeling tense in any areas? Are there ways that I can support my neck this morning to give me a better full day? Did I wake up feeling a little bit extra thirsty this morning? Maybe I need a little bit more hydration today. I feel thirsty now. Hold on. Up in here being a hypocrite. If you're a mom, if you get migraines, please hit the like button so that YouTube knows that this is content that's relevant to you. My husband and I found out that these little 5 to 10 minute resets were so important to me that we actually call it the 5 to 10 rule. It is a rule. The 5 to 10 rule means whenever we come home as a family from an outing, I go into my room by myself for 5 to 10 minutes so that I can lay down in the dark, decompress, cover myself in whatever I need. Sometimes it's headphones and dancing. Sometimes it's laying and doing nothing. Sometimes it's sitting with a fidget or, I don't know, diving into a research article so I can get my brain somewhere, not in an unhealthy way. But I'm telling you, these little reset moments, when your whole life is on such a loop, these little resets are so important. It seriously brings back sanity. This is my 3rd baby, and I regret to say that it took so long for me to figure out some of these things, but that's why I'm so adamant about teaching you guys everything that I took so long to learn. Can you hit the like button if content like this is helpful to you? Let's go to part 2. Part 2 for managing migraine attacks while breastfeeding is going to be tracking your triggers and then figuring out which ones you can gently re-expose yourself to. Let me explain, because you shouldn't just be triggering yourself with things, you know? Background. Postpartum triggers can look different from your pre-baby triggers, especially when you add on that there's way more sensory overload, there's way more upright time, and there's a lot more noise, a lot more middle of the night bright light situations happening, way more unpredictability. Your migraine triggers are likely going to be different postpartum than they were before you had the baby. So part 2 of managing your migraine attacks during breastfeeding is going to be mapping out your new triggers and gently re-exposing yourself to the ones that you really do think that you can handle. Of course, talking to your care team. I'm not a doctor. But I am a patient and a researcher, and I've been doing this for a long time. So what I do with my triggers is I kind of group them into low, medium, and high issue. What's the word I'm looking for? Levels? I put them in levels. This is going to be different for everyone, but think about how big of a trigger is it for you to do things like pick up the baby. For me, that was a big one, so I put a lot of systems into place postpartum so that I wouldn't have to pick up the baby too much. For you, maybe it's skipped hydration. That's your huge one, where if you skip hydration, you're going to feel like garbage. So that's an area where you will be more strict. For me, it's not just hydration, but hydration plus magnesium. That's an area where I need to be strict. But the thing is, when you get chronic migraine, sometimes it's not so easy to just hydrate. Sometimes there's nausea issues. Sometimes there's absorption issues. So what do you do when you run into something like that? My answer to that is to start small, and that probably sounds so dumb. But if you go small and consistent rather than doing your crash out burnout cycle that you're doing, it's actually going to work. I'm realizing now in hindsight, I actually do have a little bit of hydration support that's free that you can download. It's in my 3 microshifts guide. It's a free resource. I will put the link below. But number 2 out of those 3, spoiler, is like salt and mineral support. So you should check out that free PDF. I actually think that most people with migraine could make a lot of progress just with the 3 things in that PDF. There's a point in my journey when I figured out that my muscles were atrophying and I really needed to get back into exercising. But I can't just exercise. So what's a way that I can gently re-expose myself to the trigger of exercising because I know that exercising and movement is so important for my body? For some people it's hydration and they're not able to stomach the hydration because of nausea or absorption issues. For some people the trigger is missing meals, but maybe for those same reasons they're not able to consistently have meals. Or maybe because you're postpartum, you're missing meals because you're busy. You also have to factor in things like your sensory accumulation. Maybe some weeks you wake up feeling not so well and you can't handle quite as much as you usually do. You could take note of that and maybe dim the lights for the next few days to give your body some time to readjust, and then gently start turning those lights back on. Find those new triggers and then gently re-expose yourself. And if it's something like exercise or food, it is best to talk to a doctor. I made a PDF of 3 microshifts that I use to stabilize my chronic symptoms when I'm in my very, very lowest low. Check out the link below for that. It's the 3 microshifts freebie. Postpartum, you're probably also going to want to make some lifestyle adjustments. That's going to be part 3. A few small lifestyle shifts can make a really big difference in this season. I'm getting all excited. This is where you're implementing those changes that you identified from part 2. So let's say sleep fragmentation is the thing that's really the nail in the coffin for you. What's a way that you can do something new, like split the night with your husband to make sure that you're actually getting longer stretches of sleep? In the early days, not with this baby, but with previous babies, I would go to sleep from 8 a.m. to 2, and my husband would take 2 to 6. And the hours of sleep evened out because of naps and the way that the baby slept and woke and all those kinds of things. But that system worked super well for us, and suddenly we both felt so much more rested because we had better communication and a better system. It's not the kind of thing that you just know what to do when you first have the baby. You've got to be willing to experiment. Try a couple of different things, and again, pay attention to your triggers when you are trying to figure out what things to change. I do think it's important to keep your nutrition very consistent. You need to make sure that you are feeding yourself. Fuel your body. Movement is vital postpartum, but again, so gently. Only do it if it feels natural. And when your doctor clears you, do what you feel like you can. When it comes to migraine, I think it really does make a difference to keep your stamina going. With migraine and POTS, it's very easy to let that bed creep happen where, oh, I just need to stay in bed, I need to stay in bed longer. It's hard to keep ourselves moving and exercising, but there are movements and exercises that you can do even from bed. So if you can move your body, see what you can do. Another tip is to have small circadian anchors, like different things that cue your body that it's time to go to sleep. I don't have time to get into that right now, but I do have a course. The course is called Little Things Long Way, and one of the modules is circadian rhythm. So that's where to head if you want a deeper dive. Lastly, I would recommend lowering the sensory environment for wherever it is that you feed. I don't know what it is, but if I'm having a conversation while I'm feeding, if I'm trying to work while I'm feeding, either on my laptop or on my phone, it's just so much harder to get it done. I don't relax and let down as much. My baby's not as focused. We don't get that beautiful bonding time, and then my body ends the situation stressed rather than ending it really bonded and relaxed. Then I do 5 to 10 minutes of that quiet time, and then I feel really relaxed after a feed rather than stressed out and touched out. Please subscribe to my channel. I want my silver play button. Part 4 for managing migraines while breastfeeding is to use tools when you have them. A lot of us try to stay drug-free, medication-free, and not use any prescriptions while we're breastfeeding because we want the best for our baby, but that doesn't mean that there are no tools that we can try. My go-to tool for migraine prevention and for acute aborting that migraine is to use CEFALY. CEFALY did sponsor this video, but I've been using them since 2018, well before I even had a channel. Why? Because it's drug-free and it's FDA cleared, and it works for 79% of users within 1 hour. It's portable, it's reusable, and one of my favorite parts, no prescription required. There are several migraine devices on the market to choose from, but one thing I love about CEFALY is that you buy the device once and it's yours. You do need to buy replacement electrodes, but they're cheap. The expensive part, the device, is yours. The other ones I was looking into, it would be like a subscription, like hundreds of dollars a month. Sometimes insurance covers it, but you know how insurance is, you know how doctors' things are, and if you're not getting enough migraines, they could take it away. None of that with this. I will show you how it works. Super easy, there are only 2 parts, device, electrodes, and they're magnetic to each other. I'll put a card here for my video about how to use CEFALY. It's the step-by-step, but I'll show you the electrode now. Peel it off. You do wash your forehead first. You stick it on. Then you lay down comfortably on your back. The device is a magnet. Kind of falling because I'm not laying down. And if you get the CEFALY connected, it actually connects to your phone and you can control the power from your phone. It also logs your sessions and you can track your migraines in the CC app. I'll throw this back on. You just push it once for the acute mode, twice for the prevent mode. There it goes. So the device is working right now. I can feel it tingling and it slowly ramps up as it goes. So cute. The feeling is like a buzzing, like a tingling pressure. It's definitely not painful, and if it is painful, you should turn it down. But to me it feels productive, and my literally only downside is that I can be tired if I use it really often. If I'm like doing prevent every day and then also using acute maybe a couple of times a migraine, I can feel kind of tired. But I think I would be tired no matter what if I was getting that many migraine attacks in a row, you know? I feel like it just sort of fast forwards the migraine. That's how I would describe it. CEFALY has completely changed my life. And honestly, CEFALY changed my life before I was even pregnant. Before I was even trying to avoid medication, just when I was trying to avoid side effects. CEFALY changed my life. They do have a 90-day money-back guarantee, so if you want to try it out, risk-free, do it. Right now is a great time because they have that 15% off sale. The acute mode is great for ending those migraine attacks fast, but the prevent mode is also handy because it reduces your frequency over time. And honestly, that's what I needed. Something that I could consistently use without worrying about medication exposure during breastfeeding and without worrying about my doctor taking it away in an instant because they didn't think I was doing well enough or they thought I was doing too well. You know how it is trying to get approval. Anyway, so whether you're breastfeeding or just want to try something drug-free, you should try CEFALY and see if it helps you take back your days. No matter where you are in this migraine journey, know that you're doing a really great job. This season is beautiful and brutal at the same time, and you deserve support that actually fits your life. Thank you again to CEFALY for sponsoring this video and for supporting migraine moms. And I'm sending love to all of you. Is it a heart? My millennial is showing. Cool kids do it this way now, right?